Marcus Webb had one rule. He was not an animal person. He said this clearly, regularly, to anyone who asked. Then, on a Wednesday morning in October, a 5-week-old black kitten sat on the hood of his truck, looked at him through the windshield, and waited. By morning, she was on his pillow. By week 3, he had built her a tower. He is still figuring out the situation. She figured it out on Fletcher Road. Marcus Webb had a reputation to maintain. He was 33 years old, worked in construction management, drove a truck, owned exactly 0 houseplants, and had told his girlfriend Amy on their second date that he was not an animal person. Not allergic, not afraid, just not interested. He said this the way people say it when they want it understood as a personality feature, not a preference. Amy, who had 2 cats of her own, had noted this information and filed it away. She would think about it later. The kitten showed up on a Wednesday morning in October, outside the supply warehouse on Fletcher Road, where Marcus started his day at 6:15 a.m. She was sitting in the gravel next to the loading dock, approximately the size of a large fist, jet black except for a pink tongue she was using to wash her face with the focused efficiency of someone who had a full schedule and limited time. She was maybe 5 weeks old. Maybe. She looked up at Marcus with green eyes slightly too large for her head and made a sound that was not quite a meow, more of a question. Marcus said no. He went inside. He had 3 meetings, a site visit, and 14 unread emails. He did not think about the kitten. At 12:30 p.m., he went to his truck for lunch. She was sitting on the hood. He still does not know how she got up there. He ate his lunch. She watched him through the windshield with her enormous green eyes and did not blink for an unsettling amount of time. He finished eating. She was still there. He got out of the truck. She allowed him to pick her up, which she seemed to regard as something she was permitting rather than something he was doing. She weighed almost nothing. She put her front paws on his collarbone and looked at his face from 3 inches away. He brought her inside and put her in a cardboard box with a work hoodie folded at the bottom. He told his site foreman Dave that he was keeping her there temporarily while he figured out what to do. Dave looked at the box, looked at Marcus, and said nothing with the careful expression of a man who has learned when to stay quiet. He called Amy at 4:47 p.m. He said he had found a kitten and needed to know what to feed it. Amy asked several questions. Marcus answered them with the clipped efficiency of someone gathering logistical information and not having any feelings about the situation whatsoever. Amy asked if he wanted her to come over. Marcus said that was unnecessary. He had it handled. At 7:23 p.m., Amy arrived with kitten formula, a small litter box, and a toy mouse on a string. Marcus opened the door and said he had told her it was unnecessary. Amy walked past him and sat on the floor next to the cardboard box. Pixel climbed out of the box, walked across the floor, and sat down on Marcus's boot. Amy looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at the ceiling. Here is something most people don't know about black kittens. They are the least adopted cats in America, passed over in shelters at rates up to 50% higher than kittens of other colors. The superstition about black cats and bad luck is medieval in origin and completely without basis. What black kittens actually are, in the experience of everyone who has kept one, is entirely too smart for their own good and completely aware of it from approximately week 4 of life. Pixel was aware of it from approximately the moment she climbed onto Marcus's hood. The first night, Marcus set up the litter box in the bathroom and the cardboard box in the corner of the living room and told Pixel that those were her spaces and the rest of the apartment was his. Pixel listened to this with the polite attention of someone hearing instructions they have no intention of following. By 11 p.m., she had located the one gap in his bed frame, climbed up through the mattress springs, and appeared on top of the duvet next to his pillow. He put her back in the box. She was back on the bed in 11 minutes. He put her back again. She was back in 8. At some point after midnight, he stopped putting her back. Amy texted at 7 a.m. to ask how the night went. Marcus responded, "Fine. She's sleeping on my pillow. I didn't invite her." Amy sent back a single emoji. Marcus did not respond to it. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, honestly, that stings a little. Hit subscribe. You need to hear what happens next. Week 2 brought developments Marcus reported to no one. Pixel had established that his morning alarm at 5:45 a.m. was her signal to begin purring directly into his ear, that his coffee mug was an acceptable place to rest her chin while he wasn't drinking from it, that his laptop keyboard was where she wanted to sit. She inserted herself into 2 video calls. His project manager, Jennifer, asked who the cat was. Marcus said it was temporary. Jennifer said it looked pretty comfortable for temporary. Marcus ended the meeting. She sat on his chest every evening, not beside him, on him, purring with the volume of something much larger, chin on his collarbone, green eyes half closed. He stopped complaining after day 4. Marcus's apartment reorganized itself. A fleece blanket appeared on the couch. A carpeted tower stood by the window. He had assembled it on a Saturday morning and did not remember deciding to buy it. Amy came for dinner in week 3 and stood in the living room taking inventory. The tower, the blanket, the row of food by flavor on the counter, the toy mouse on the string that had somehow migrated to 3 different rooms, the framed photo on the bookshelf, taken by Marcus, on his phone, in good natural light, of Pixel sitting on the windowsill looking imperious. Amy said nothing for a moment. Then she said, "You framed a photo of your cat." Marcus said, "She's not my cat. I'm still figuring out the situation." Amy looked at the framed photo. Then she looked at Marcus. She did not say anything else on the subject, because some things don't need saying. Today, Pixel is 14 months old. She still begins every morning at 5:45 a.m. by purring into Marcus's ear. She still attends video calls without an invitation. She still sits on his chest in the evenings with her chin on his collarbone and her eyes half closed, purring loud enough that his downstairs neighbor once knocked on the ceiling. The framed photo is still on the bookshelf. He has taken 47 more since then. Marcus is still not an animal person. He says this less often than he used to, and with considerably less conviction, because Pixel never asked him to be an animal person. She sat on a loading dock on Fletcher Road and waited for the right truck to pull in. And when Marcus got out, she looked at him with eyes slightly too large for her head and asked her question. And somewhere between the hood of his truck and the pillow he stopped defending, he answered it. She didn't take over his apartment, she took over his entire life. And if you ask Marcus, he'll tell you he's still figuring out the situation. He'll say this while she's sitting on his chest. Neither of them is convincing anyone. Would you keep a stray kitten if it chose you the way Pixel chose Marcus? Or would you have walked away? Tell me in the comments.